So this is Rise Eterna, okay? So this is a grid-based strategy RPG, and it's an indie game developed by a company called Makee. You know, like M-A-K-E-E, Makee. This is a studio that's comprised by people from Poland, France, and Japan, I think. So it's a worldwide RPG, but it's mostly a European RPG, but it seems inspired by Fire Emblem. However, even though it kind of looks like Fire Emblem, it's very different. You know, I found it very different. I'll be comparing this game to Fire Emblem just to prove to you that it's not really like Fire Emblem. I mean, I see the inspiration, but it's not really like that. So this is a game that takes place in the medieval setting, you know, and the main character is Lua. That's the girl you're seeing right now on the picture. And her name is Lua, and she lives in a peaceful village. So the other main character is this guy, and he's a bandit, but he doesn't raid the villages. He just takes care of the camp, while his friends, the bandits, the evil guys, you know, go and raid the villages. So Lua's village gets raided, and then he doesn't go. But time passes, and he's like, "What's going on? They haven't come back. They haven't returned." So he goes to look for them, and he finds out to the village, and he finds out that Lua pretty much killed the majority of them by herself. And he's like, whoa, what the hell? Who is this girl? Well, obviously she's pissed off as hell, you know, and she tries to take it out on the guy, you know, but they worked it out. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but let's just say they joined together forces, and he decides to help her go to the big city, to the capital, because this is a universe where there's an oppressive empire, an evil empire took over the world, and people are sick of that. So Lua is starting to consider some kind of revolution, you know, to take down the empire. And this guy, this ex-bandit, decides to join forces with her and help her, you know, reach the city. And then once she's in the city, she finds out she has special powers, special abilities. She's kind of like a thief type of character, you know. She fights with two short swords, and she's kind of weak at the beginning, but near the end of the game, she's completely broken, and she can take the entire map on her own. We'll get to that in a bit. But that's the whole story, you know. She needs to find her sisters, who are also, you know, very powerful, you know, to build a small army to take on the Empire. So it's pretty interesting, you know. It's a pretty interesting topic. It's kind of cliche, yes it is, but how the dialogues are carried out, it's pretty interesting, you know. There's a lot of edginess in there, a lot of tragedy. The music in this game is kind of like, it's good. It's not that great, you know, but it's good. And the world, there's like 3 world map themes, and they get more depressing as you advance the story. And it's not like the game is that tragic. There's some tragedies in there, you know, but some darkness in there. But it's not like, I mean, the music is kind of like exaggerated a little bit, but it's good. All right, so the gameplay, this is, like I said before, a strategy RPG. But it's very top-down view, like from really high up, the camera. So it looks really small, it looks a little bit like a phone game. It screams low budget, but this is not a phone game. I'm not sure if it's available for mobile phones, but it's on PS4, Switch, and Steam. And I'm not sure if it's on the Xbox One, you know, but maybe it is, I don't know. But the point is that, you do move on grids, and when you touch an enemy, you know, when you enter battle, it goes into this 2D view like in Fire Emblem. But however, in Fire Emblem, the majority of the enemies or your characters counter-attack, right? When it's a melee attack. If you attack from afar with a bow or with magic, you don't get counter-attacked, right? But in Fire Emblem, you know, and you attack an enemy up front and the enemy counters. Not in this game. This is not like in Fire Emblem. You know, you just attack and that's it. And if other characters are, you know, around the character you chose to perform that attack, they increase your stats. They don't fight beside you, they don't attack the enemy. They just stand there in the anime, in the 2D animation. They just stand there and your character, you know, attacks the enemy. But the character has more, you know, defense or more attack power or more agility. And agility is a must. That's a stat you need to increase in this game because the RNG is fucked up. It's one of my biggest gripes with this game, you know, with this indie game. You know, the RNG, it was like a lot of times I had like 80-something% of hit and the characters were missing, you know, a lot, and I was like, man. But anyway, this is a game where you do not level up. You don't gain experience. Instead, you get skill points, but it doesn't matter what you do in battle. Even if you use only one character to kill everybody and the rest are just there, every single character is going to get one skill point after every mission. And that's a skill point you use to unlock abilities or unlock stats like defense plus 5 or HP plus 5, attack plus 5 or agility, or you know, this other spell, this magic, or you increase the power of this attack spell. So you while you don't level up, you know, the experience points are transformed into these skill points. But it's funny that, you know, it just doesn't matter who fights who. Like I said, you can just use 1 or 2 characters to kill everybody in the field, and the other 3 characters, you know, the other 4 characters, because this is a game where you can only have 6 characters. Unlike in Fire Emblem, where you can have like 10, 12, 15 per every map. In here, you have a limited amount of characters, you know, like 6 is the maximum amount of characters you can have during every map. And like I said, you can just do nothing, and we use 1 character to kill everybody, and everybody's still going to get 1 skill point after battle. So, I don't know about that. At the beginning it bothered me a bit, but I got used to that. I was like, okay, so these guys are trying to do something different, get rid of the random status increases of the leveling up system, you know, we see often in Fire Emblem. Because come on, if you guys have played any Fire Emblem games, you probably already know that sometimes you level up and you only increase 1 stat. So it's an RNG for the experience system, and it's messed up in Fire Emblem. I still love it though, but it's fucked up. So they got rid of that. And there's also some alchemy stuff in here, not like in Atelier, but there's a lot of items in the map, in treasure chests, or just laying there, that you can gather to create potions, or buffs, or debuffs, or healing items, you know. Because in this game there are no shops, there's no stores, you can't buy anything, so your only way to create items in this game is to craft them with these materials. And there's also a gem system, and that also makes up for the lack of leveling up system. In here, you can sometimes find these gems in the map, particularly on treasure chests. You create these gems that also increase your character's stats. Plus attack plus 5, you know, defense plus 5, plus 15, attack increase 20%, things like that. So that's the way these developers thought of for replacing the experience system. You don't level up, but you get all this cool stuff. And overall, it's an amazing game. It's not an easy game. It was easy for me because I have a shit ton of experience in strategy RPGs. I mean, this is my genre. It's my favorite genre of video games. But I'm still going to recommend this game for beginners. It's a great game. It's a great entry for beginners into strategy RPGs, and it's dirt cheap. It's usually on sale. I got it for $2, like I said, digital. I don't know if there's a physical version. Well, my point is that I don't think it's that challenging, but it's not that easy. So if you're a beginner, but you don't want the game to be extremely easy, don't worry, you can still start with this game. You know, it's fairly challenging. There's no permadeath. That's right, your characters don't die permanently. If they die, you can use them in the next mission. So it's okay, no permadeath. There are some secret characters, secret powerful characters that you can get. You need a guide for that because they are locked in specific maps that you have to replay again. But it's kind of fun, you know, because the game is very addictive. If you like grid-based strategy RPGs, Fire Emblem, Shining Force, then you're gonna love this game, you know. It's an amazing game, and the art style is beautiful, you know, while the graphics, the in-game graphics look really low budget, like 8-bit style of graphics. You know, the art style, the character design, when they pop up and talk during the conversations, you know, they look beautiful. I really like the character design. So my praises go to the whoever designed this game, these game's characters. My one and only complaint with this game is that it's too damn short. Unfortunately, it's too damn short. I beat the game in 8.5 hours. There's no difficulty settings. You can't choose, I think. I don't remember if you can choose an easy mode or a hard mode. I don't think so. I think you're just stuck with the game's random difficulty. And standard difficulty, normal difficulty, I guess. But the game just ends. 8.5 hours. I was like, oh, okay, so let's keep going. And it just ends. I got the credits. I was like, oh, so that was the final boss? Okay, I got the credits and the end. 8.5 hours. So this game came out in 2019, I think, so it's either one of two. One, the developers may be planning a sequel, a direct sequel to continue because the story didn't end. You didn't... I don't want to spoil... I'm not going to spoil anything, but just play the game and when you beat it, you're going to be like, what? It just ended, it just ends after a mission. They have a conversation, they have this really, really small scene, posing as the ending, and that's it. So either the developers are planning a sequel, or for some reason they decided to leave it at that. I hope it's the first one. I hope they are planning a sequel, because the game just can't end like that. It's like, man, it sucks, man. That ending sucks. Don't leave us like that. But if it's part 1 of a series, and if there's gonna be a sequel, a continuation, a part 2, then okay, I'll get it. But still, it's a very short game. You can beat this game in less than 10 hours. It's an indie game. Usually indie RPGs are like this. They're very short. Come on, there's not a lot of money to make 40, 50 hour long games. It's an indie game, keep that in mind. But I do strongly recommend it, especially for Fire Emblem fans. I love this game. Great game. I wish it could have been longer.